future live streams. All right, let's shift gears now, guys. I want to do another off-season model here, if that's all right with y'all. Again, we did one yesterday, and we use Stick to the Model. You guys got to check this website out. It's absolutely awesome. Go follow them on X as well. Just go to sticktothemodel.com, and you can go through and simulate your own off-season. It's absolutely phenomenal. So what did we do yesterday? We ran through a model where we proved, here's how you go get Tyler Linderbaum. Okay, you can afford to get Tyler Linderbaum. You can afford to get Trayvon Diggs. Now, you got to cut loose of some players, right? Again, I'm ready to move on from Elgton Jenkins unless it's a discounted rate. I'm prepared to move on from Aaron Banks unless it's a discounted rate. I don't know why he would take a pay cut, to be honest with you. But if he were to, I would be okay with bringing him back. But what I decided to do in this model and what we did yesterday was to move on from Aaron Banks. Yesterday, we just did an outright cut pre-June 1. Today, we're going to do a post-June 1 cut. Keep in mind, we got to carry that cap until post-June 1. But I think we're going to have the maneuverability to make it happen. So here are the moves that we're doing, okay? Here is what we're kicking off with. Aaron Banks, we're doing a post-June 1 cut, okay? So these are the cuts that we made. And we're cutting Elgton Jenkins outright, so that's going to free up a ton of money for us. So now all of a sudden, our cap space is sitting at $40 million. And I've noticed that his site is constantly adjusting. It's tweaking market value for certain players. So some of these values may be a little bit different today. But nonetheless, Aaron Banks, Elgton Jenkins, we're moving on from. Rashawn Gary, we restructured his contract, and we freed up $8.4 million. Now, I'm going to say this again. If you think that Rashawn Gary should be cut outright, I get it. I completely understand. I can understand why people would feel like that. It kind of feels like it's time that we maybe move on from Gary. I want him back at the right price. If he says, nope, not taking a pay cut, then, and this isn't a pay cut. This is just a restructure. This is pushing some money out. So this is being aggressive in a sense, but it's the only way that we can simulate in this Stick to the Model website. It's the only way that I know of that we can simulate. All right, we're just going to restructure. We're going to ask him to take a little bit of a pay cut, guarantee a little bit of money, make it worth his time, worth his while, and we keep Gary on. Maybe we can kick him to 3-tech a little bit. He can also give you some edge presence outside. He still had a 12.5% quarterback pressure percentage last year. He was second on the team in sacks. He was arguably our best run defender outside of Micah Parsons with the run stops, continuing to play well there. All those things, to me, is worth getting him back for a certain price. Now, with that being said, we restructured. We freed up $8.4 million. Okay, Josh Jacobs, we restructured and freed up $4.5 million. Not a pay cut, just a simple restructure. Okay, so that's where we're at in that sense. Now, that's your cuts, that's your restructures. Now signings. We're on to signings next year. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and fast forward ahead, and now we're in the signings period. Now, who did we sign already? We already signed our boy, Trayvon Diggs, okay? I'm pretty sure it's already in the bank. I think it already showed it. Let me go back. I tried to get some of this leg work out. Yeah, so Trayvon Diggs. We got him on a 3-year deal at $8.7 million. I think we could have got him at $5 million, but I felt like I was cheating the system. So I amped it up to 8.7, okay? I did that on purpose because I wanted it to be more realistic. So, again, you go into the situation, you're moving on from Aaron Banks, Elgton Jenkins. You did a couple of simple restructures, and then you go ahead and re-sign Trayvon Diggs. Now, again, it kind of treats it like a re-sign with this model. However, that's something that he would get a chance to test free agency. So that number may blimp. It may go down. People may not think his market's there too. I doubt that. I think somebody will be willing to overpay. So you're probably looking at $8 to $10 million per for Trayvon Diggs if you want to go get him. That's the cornerback I've chosen. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that right now. Now, we're $40 million under the cap. Remember, the only thing that we're going to attack here in free agency is we're going to try to shore up defensive tackle. We're going to go get the most expensive defensive tackle in free agency, okay? That's going to be our goal here. That's what we're going to want to do. And these are the questions that can kind of slow us down, Coach. I'm okay with doing this. Coach Lynn says, bring Sean Ryan back. How do y'all feel about that? Let's do it. Let's say in this scenario here, we're going to bring back Sean Ryan. Okay. And we're just going to go off the market value that they show here. All right. And it's not much, to be honest with you, looking at it here. If we go re-sign, it's saying if his market value is $3.1 million per year. I'm okay with that. As a matter of fact, I'm okay with the 4.6. That's 49% above the market value. Let's see if he will take, let's just get it down to 4. And how old is he? He's 26 years old. Let's try to give him a 3-year deal on that. All right, so we're going to go 3 years, $4 million per. for Sean Ryan. Would everybody be okay with that? Like Coach Lynn says, we need interior depth, right? Completely agree. Completely agree. Like you're kind of setting that basement, the foundation, the floor for your center room, right? We know he can play center in a pinch. He can compete at guard. To me, that's backup money there too. $4 million per is nothing. Let's see if he'll accept it. All right, there you go. Bang. So we brung back Sean Ryan. All right. We also brung back or signed in free agency Trayvon Diggs. So now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on, we're not getting Tyler Linderbaum this time. We're going to focus on diving into the draft and getting offensive linemen. But before we do, we are going to shore up defensive tackle. This is going to get a little bit long-winded, so you guys hang with me. I'm going to try to explain this off screen. There's going to be some free agents that maybe aren't popping up right here on the screen, but I'm going to tell you or explain to you, here are the market value rankings of the defensive tackles according to Spot Track, okay? Calais Campbell, $10.9 million. David Onyemata, $8.5 million. Logan Hall, $7.9 million. John Franklin Myers, $7.8 million. Sheldon Rankin, $7.5 million. Sebastian Joseph, $6.8 million. Cam Jordan, $6.7 million. We've talked about this before. There's a few names here. Calais Campbell, David Onyemata, and Logan Hall are the ones that I'm most interested in. And here's why. Calais Campbell looks like he's still got some gas in the tank. He's still playing good football, right? That'd be a great presence there at defensive tackle to help kind of build the floor for us. If we approach it that way, okay, and we sign Calais Campbell in free agency, I think that truly does help your defensive tackle position. David Onyemata, I think, had a little bit better year than Calais Campbell. He's 33 years old. Calais Campbell's 39 years old. I get it. And he may hit the wall this year. They've been saying that for the last 3 or 4 years, really the last 5 years when it comes to Calais Campbell. But with David Onyemata, 33 years old, how about a 2 or a 3 year deal? And you can get out of it after 1, right? And let's just kind of patch this thing up. Well, why would we be interested in David Onyemata? His PFF grade is 78.2 this year, okay? Pass rush, 67.1. Run defense, 74.2. Okay, so there's a solid defensive tackle. Now, where did Calais Campbell lie? 72.2. So if you just went strictly off PFF grade and age, you would say David Onyemata is the better choice, right? So why is Logan Hall being mentioned? Logan Hall has a lower PFF grade. He graded out a 66.8. But here's the thing about Logan Hall. Logan Hall is a former second-round pick, 33rd overall, which means he's a borderline, back-end first-round pick, essentially, right? You're really splitting hairs when you talk about a early second or a late first to an early second pick. But he's an ascending player. According to PFF, he started significant snaps his entire time. He stayed somewhat healthy, okay? 2022, 36 was his PFF grade, right? Ugh. Okay. 2023, 52.3. So he went from 36 to 52. 2024, he went from 52 to 59. Not a huge jump, but he's getting better. And then this year is 66.8. The trend is he's an ascending player. Now, if you remove the ascension, how much would you be willing to pay for someone who graded out a 66.8? You wouldn't think it'd be a lot of money, right? So that's what makes this decision tough. So again, Logan Hall's market value is $7.9 million. They're showing 7.9 as his market value, as opposed to a David Onyemata at 8.5. Now, pause, time out. Think about this. Who are our starting defensive tackles? Devontae Wyatt, hopefully he'll be healthy for week 1. You got Warren Brinson, you got Nazir Stackhouse, you got Kobe Wooden, right? Are any of those, do you consider any of those, they're top 10 at their position? They're, top 20 at their position? I don't think we would, right? I'm not saying that any or all of those players are bad football players, but they're not like needle movers, in my opinion, right? So, with that being said, remember what we paid for Linderbaum? We went out with Tyler Linderbaum, and we paid, what was it, $17 million per was the deal that we landed on this model side here, right? So what if we allocated $17 million to go get 2 defensive tackles, if this model will permit us to do so? If we do that, what would the 2 be? Calais Campbell, David Onyemata, Logan Hall. Which of those 3, if we've got it narrowed down to 3, which of those 3 would we like? For me personally, I would go David Onyemata and I would go Logan Hall. 8.5 million, 7.9 million. Let's just round it up to 8 million. You're looking at 16.5 million. What if we were able to go out and get 2 defensive tackles to shore up the defensive tackle position with the money we would have spent on Linderbaum? Let's try it. Let's see if we can do it. All right. So let's try to find David Onyemata. There he is. Let's see what the market value is for him. Market value 7.4. Let's go off of Spot Track, okay? Because it's more. So we're not cheating the system. Let's take it up. It says 8.5 there. 7.4 is what it's showing here. So let's keep it at 8.9. Okay. 8.9. Let's do a 3-year deal. That's really going to be a 1 year plus 2. Okay. Essentially. So let's go ahead and hit that. Offer accepted. So you went out and you got David Onyemata at defensive tackle. Now, where's Logan Hall? Where is Logan Hall at? And that's assuming, again, that these guys are going to be available. Is he even on the list? There may be a glitch. This is my first run through here trying to get a D tackle. Let's see if we can find Logan Hall because they may not have him as a free agent. There he is. Boom. All right. So Logan Hall, his market value. I see the super chat there. Mike, appreciate you, buddy. I'll hit it in just a second, man. You're awesome. So market value $7 million. Okay. It's got our offer set at 11.6. We ended up paying right at 9 for the other. So we're going to lower this a touch to make it work. We're going to give him a 4-year deal. Let's see if he'll accept. Let's get it closer to the market value. Let's say 9.3 million. What do y'all think? That sound good to you? Let's do it. Bang. Offer accepted. So now what you've done is you went and got Onyemata. All right. And you've gotten Logan Hall as defensive tackles. Right. So you've now shored up your defensive tackle room a touch. Right. But what's the downside? You didn't go get your boy Tyler Linderbaum, right? That did not happen. So when we look at it like that, and we now go back to all of our free agents, our cap space is sitting at 17.8 million right now, guys. So we still got 17.8 million. Again, to the former player that said we can't afford Tyler Linderbaum. And again, Tyler Linderbaum may not be 17 million. He may break the 20 million. If he breaks the 22 million mark, you can still afford him. Again, what did Ted Thompson say? I want the player. If you want the player, you make the numbers work, you go get him if you think he is the difference maker. Now, defensive tackle, tier 1 of importance, center, tier 2 of importance. I'm kind of liking how we're pressing into this situation right here, if that makes sense. So, with that being said, Mike, let me hit the super chat real quick, and then we'll keep it moving here. He says, I have a vision, Clayton. Cowboys release Kenny Clark. He comes back home with a cheaper deal in Green Bay. Our D-line is Micah, Wyatt, Kenny, and LVM, Sorrell, and Oliver as bench players. We cut Gary. Don't have an issue with that at all, Mike. I think that's a great point. I would be okay with that. And again, people go, well, Kenny's not great. Kenny's not great. Nobody's saying he's great. Is he good? Yeah, he was a good defensive lineman. Why does his numbers drop? We showed you on the tape. He's battling a foot injury, and they had him playing touch spy in the 1 tech. We expected him to kick the 3 tech when Hafley came in. They went the opposite route. They played him at 1 and put Wyatt at 3, right? So Kenny was having to battle through, just playing a touch spy essentially, which is engaging with the double team on purpose in the A gap and then kind of spying the quarterback, making sure he doesn't scramble and also keying in on the run, right? So I don't hate that idea, Mike. I think it's a great idea, dude. Great idea. So now looking at these players that we could potentially bring back, is there somebody on our roster that we want to bring back? I don't want to get crazy with this because I want to move on to the draft and see how we can shore up some of these other important positions. And we're not going to go after Malik Willis. They got Malik Willis listed at 4.9. I think we all agree he's probably going to get more than that. Although quarterbacks like Kyler Murray are now all of a sudden becoming available, right? It looks like they may be trade bait. So that weakens the market a bit. I'd love to have Malik Willis back. For $10 million per or less, I'd be okay with bringing Malik back personally. So with that being said, if we were to bring, and keep in mind too, these restricted free agents guys, we're going to be bringing those guys back too. That's going to be happening. Like Darian Kennard, he'll be on the, anybody who's listed as restricted or exclusive rights, I always just bank on them being on the roster. If the Packers want them back, they can get them back at a really good rate or great compensation if somebody outbids. So you can bring those guys back. I kind of treat those like they're already on the roster. But you guys know who I'm talking about here. There's a handful of players. Romeo Doubs, $24.2 million is what it's showing him at. He's going to be priced out of our range if that's the case. He's 26 years old, right? And again, we want to see more Matthew Golden rather than Romeo Doubs. I think we would agree. Rasheed Walker, $13.9 million. Remember what I said? I'd be okay with bringing Rasheed back at $10 million, but anything over 10, I just think you're overpaying for that. So we're not going to touch that. Kingsland Igbare, they're projecting $14.5 million. 14.5. And then you got Quay Walker. This is interesting. You guys know Quay Walker. Quay Walker. I've been vocal that I want Quay back at the right price. What's that price? Just like Rasheed Walker, that $10 million mark, that's the cutoff for me. Can't do it. Can't have it. Can't do it. Okay. Same thing with Quay. I think Quay is an above average to good linebacker in the league. Okay. I do not think he's great. You're willing to overpay for great, you're not willing to overpay for good. He's not even very good. I would put him somewhere between good and above average. It's showing his market value at 7.3. So in this situation, will we be willing to pay Quay Walker $7.3 million to come back? A 3-year deal, $7 million per, $21 million. Let's give him $10 million guaranteed. So essentially it's a 2-year, $10 million deal that you can get out of after really in year 2, you could get out of it. Would you be willing to do it? I want y'all to fire off yes or no to Quay. Yes or no to Quay as quick as possible. Coach Lynn says yes. I'm leaning that way too, Coach. Again, this is if Quay's market doesn't blow up. Some people were expecting him to be $15 million per. Nobody's saying we should sign him if he reaches that point, right? So what would we be willing to pay Quay Walker? Are we okay with $7 million per, guys? Let me know in the chat. I know Coach Lynn's on board. We'll get at least one more yes or a no here. I'm going to sign him anyway. I just want to know how you guys are feeling about it, okay? Carney in the chat says Quay Walker is a beast. We just didn't have the right scheme. Pay him, all right? So he's on board with paying him, all right? And I love everybody's reaction because we've been critical of Quay, right? Chris Casualian says, how much for Quay? $7 million? Hell yeah, right? Jen Wright, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Tony Canadeo said, as long as it's below 11 million, right? So we're not stretching it from 10 to 11, and I can understand making the case there. I really can. So very, very, I think we're on board. So we're going to see if we can get Quay for, now, see how it blimps at the 10? We're going to try to get it closer to that. We're going to try to get it closer to the 7.3. Let's split the difference and make it realistic. Let's say $8 million, okay? So we're going to do it 8. Let's see if he'll take it. He did. So we bring back Quay Walker at linebacker too. So again, that is the setup for going into the draft. We did not get an offensive lineman. We didn't even touch it. We didn't even look at it. We're going to do that in the draft. We went and got David Onyemata and Logan Hall at defensive tackle. And then we also went and got linebacker Quay Walker for a discounted rate. So now your linebacker room, I don't want to say it's set. Like Coach Lynn mentioned a name here, Jacob Rodriguez. Really, really like Rodriguez. He says, go get, got to get Rodriguez in this draft. He's definitely my draft crush when it comes to linebackers right now, Coach, and it's early. But, yeah, I'm with you on that, man, for sure. So, not opposed to it. You still may be able to do it in the draft, right? It's definitely not a top need, but if the board falls just right, I'd be okay with it. So, with all that being said, that's what we've done throughout the free agency process. So, quick recap. We cut Elton Jenkins, we cut Aaron Banks, we restructured Rashawn Gary, restructured Josh Jacobs. We signed in free agency cornerback Trayvon Diggs, okay, for discounted rate of what he had on his previous average annual value was like $19 million per, right? We're bringing him in 3 years, $8 million per, okay? We got defensive tackle Onyemata and Logan Hall, and we brought back linebacker Quay Walker. I like that. Now the stage is set for the draft, and what are we going to do, guys? We're going to be very aggressive with offensive line, and also we're still looking at cornerback. We're not thinking that Trayvon Diggs is going to come in and completely revamp and fix this cornerback room, right? We want to get a young stud at cornerback as long as the board allows us to. So with that being said, let me know in the comments. You're watching this video back later. That's going to conclude the free agency segment of this offseason rebuild. Let me know in the comments, how do you feel about what we did in free agency? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? All opinions are welcome. How do you feel about bringing in Trayvon Diggs at corner, linebacker Quay Walker, and then defensive tackles Onyemata and Logan Hall to help bolster the interior? Again, why did the Seahawks win last night? They were strong up front. I'm not saying that Onyemata and Logan Hall are going to make us the best defensive front in football. However, you add those pieces along with Devontae Wyatt, a healthy Micah Parsons, bringing back Rashawn Gary restructured. I really like, not to mention Colin Oliver and Barron Sorrell, some of these young pros. LVN we haven't even talked about. You're loaded on defensive end or defensive front now, right? Even if you decide to move on from Gary, you still feel good about that. But let us know in the comments what do you think. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon. And we're going to now jump into the NFL draft portion. So we hope to see y'all over there.